While I do love seeing all the geothermal features of Yellowstone, like geysers and hot pools and everything like that, one of the biggest, coolest things about Yellowstone is just the sheer amounts of wildlife that you will see in this park. So today, let's talk about my favorite places to go to see wildlife in Yellowstone. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes. And you will often catch me in Yellowstone just for the wildlife. It's very common for us to head to Yellowstone and just try to see something in the wild, something cool, some big mammals, really cool options here. And so it is one of my absolute favorite things to do while I'm in this park. Today, I wanted to talk to you about some of my favorite places to go and what types of wildlife you can expect to see while you're here in Yellowstone. So let's get started. The first thing that I just have to get out of the way, please don't get too close to the animals that you see. In general, you should be keeping at least 25 yards away from the wildlife. This includes things like buffalo, elk, some of the smaller, if you see bighorn sheep, things like that, 25 yards at least. For the more predatory animals, we're talking bears and wolves primarily, you'll want to be at least 100 yards from these animals. This is the safe distance. You need to be as far away as possible. So to do that safely, you'll want to bring a zoom lens. You'll also probably really want to have some binoculars or a spotting scope of some type so that you can still see these animals well, even when they're far away. We have all seen those headlines of people who just get too close. Please don't do that. It really agitates the wildlife. It's something that, we're visiting their space, we're visiting their habitat. And so we need to give them the space that they need to go about their daily activities and to just act like normal animals. Please don't get too close. If you see someone, say something because it can be quite dangerous when you agitate these animals. So just got to get there, out of the way, make sure that you're safely viewing the wildlife while you're here in Yellowstone. Okay, so looking at a map of Yellowstone, there are basically 3 different places that I can almost always guarantee there will be wildlife sighting of some sort. But truthfully, all of Yellowstone is just full of wildlife. So even if you're not in these 3 places, there's a very good chance you'll still see something. But I just want to point you towards some of the best places to see things if you're hoping to really see some of these big game mammals that you will see in Yellowstone. So the area that is best known for just having massive amounts of wildlife in Yellowstone is the Lamar Valley. And looking at the map, the Lamar Valley is this area over here. And so as you leave the tower area and you're driving along the park road towards the northeast entrance, you will drive right through Lamar Valley, and there is just massive amounts of wildlife in this area. I honestly don't think it's possible to drive through the Lamar Valley without seeing something. But we have seen all sorts of things from buffalo, like you will see a ton of buffalo. They love hanging out up here. Buffalo, elk, bighorn sheep, wolves, grizzly bears, pronghorn, black bears, what else? Everything, literally everything. So we've had times where we've driven through Lamar Valley and have just seen all of those things. We've seen bears and wolves at the same time, at the same stop. So it really is like America's Serengeti. You're just there, you're on a safari, you're trying to see what you can see, and you will see something here. If you are a big wildlife enthusiast and that is what you are really hoping to see while you're in Yellowstone, do not skip the Lamar Valley. That is the best place to go to see that. Now, the Lamar Valley is a little further removed from most popular areas of the park. And so if you don't have the time to drive up here, then there are a couple of good options down along this lower, more popular area. The first being the Hayden Valley, which is right here in between Canyon Village and Fishing Bridge. The Hayden Valley is, you're covering less ground than you do in the Lamar Valley, you still have a good chance of seeing something here. I've not had as good of luck seeing things in the Hayden Valley as I do in the Lamar Valley. So if you're looking for low-hanging fruit, the Lamar Valley is definitely the place to go. But the Hayden Valley, typically you're driving through this area anyway, especially if you're coming to visit Mud Volcano, which is a really fun stop, or if you're in the canyon area. There's a lot to do right around here, and so there is a good chance that you would be driving through here anyway. But as you drive through, keep your eyes peeled, see what you can see. We have seen herds of buffalo crossing the river here. People do see wolves in this area. I've not been lucky enough to. I've always seen the wolves in Lamar Valley and not the Hayden Valley, but they are there. There is a pack in there, so you may get lucky enough to see that. Bears, you can see bears in this area. We've seen elk in this area. So the Hayden Valley is a good alternative to the Lamar Valley. Again, I haven't had as much luck here as I do ever in the Lamar Valley, but if you can't make it up to the Lamar Valley, then definitely at least stop at the Hayden Valley. It's also worth noting that typically you will get stuck in some type of bison jam in the Hayden Valley area. It depends, of course, on the conditions and where the buffalo are at, but almost always we get stuck in a bison jam when we're trying to make our way to Mud Volcano. So build that into your schedule, just expect it. It's a really fun experience to have. The other spot that I have had really good luck seeing some of these bigger animals is this stretch between the west entrance and Madison. You will see a lot of buffalo in this area and also elk. So if you're looking for, again, you're coming in, a lot of people come into the park through the west entrance. It's very likely that you will see your first buffalo in Yellowstone right over here. I just want to reemphasize that you do not have to be in those three areas to see anything. It is so hard to visit Yellowstone without actually seeing wildlife. So just plan on it. It will happen for you. You can see wildlife all over the park. Looking at the map again, we've had really good luck seeing elk and bears kind of in this stretch here. You'll see a lot of buffalo kind of down in here, a lot of bears out in here. So we'll talk you through, based on what type of wildlife you want to see, I'll talk you through where to go. Okay, so let's start with buffalo, or bison if you want to be technical about it, but here in the West we call them buffalo, and well, I'll never change. So, but you will see a lot of buffalo in Yellowstone. There are just herds everywhere. And typically these buffalo, they live here year round. You'll see them in the winter as well. There are some really good places to try your luck seeing them, but there's a really good chance that you'll see one whether you're planning on it or not. Okay, so as I mentioned before, if you're really wanting to see those big herds of buffalo, the Lamar Valley is perfect for that. We have gotten stuck in buffalo jams up there constantly, every time. What's really cool is they will run, they look like natural, like really wild and free buffalo up here. And so I love that. I love how they'll stampede around and block your car in, and it's just a really fun experience. As I mentioned before, that has happened to us down here in the Hayden Valley plenty of times as well. Just plan on a bison jam while you're down here. That just happens. You'll also see a lot of buffalo, surprisingly, down here in this geyser area. So this is where you'll find most of the geysers in the park, is kind of along this stretch of road here. And the buffalo like to hang around this area because it's warmer and there's less snow. And so you will see them around this area year round, but especially in the winter, you can see big herds down near these geyser basins. So that's really cool. But yeah, you'll probably see buffalo as you're driving to and from Old Faithful. They do like to hang around in this spot as well. And then you've got this stretch, as I mentioned, this stretch between the west entrance and Madison, that oftentimes you'll see buffalo right along here. Truthfully, you'll see buffalo here, you'll see buffalo here, 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 here. You'll see them all over the park. But there are some spots that we like to go to see those bigger herds. Oh, one last spot. If you go down here, along here, I mentioned they like to hang out in these geyser basins. We have had good luck seeing bigger herds on this Fountain Flat Drive. You can drive down here. It's a dead end right there. that they like to hang out kind of out in here. And so we've had really good luck seeing them there as well. Let's talk about wolves, which are my favorite animals to see in Yellowstone. I love that Yellowstone has wolves. It just makes me so excited. One year for my birthday, we went to Yellowstone because I just really wanted to see some wolves. And so we just hung around the Lamar Valley all day looking for wolves. And it was literally the best birthday ever. So we're a little bit obsessed in our family with the wolves in Yellowstone. But let me show you where is the best place to see those. If you're wanting to see wolves, it really doesn't get better than the Lamar Valley. And what's cool is this road from the north entrance to the northeast entrance through the Lamar Valley stays open year round. So you can see wolves up here year round. We've seen them in the summer. I've seen them, my birthday is in August. And so that's not really known to be like prime wildlife watching time in the heat of the summer. But if you go in the mornings or the evenings, a lot of times you will still see a lot of wildlife even in the middle of the summer. So we like to just drive through the Lamar Valley. You'll see them. We've seen them kind of off to this side by the Yellowstone Forever Institute. They do like to hang around on these cliffs like over in here. There actually is a Slough Creek pack that hangs out by this campground down in here. And they do move their den, so it's not always the same area. But over the last few years, this has kind of been the hot spot for wolves in our experience. There are wolves in the Hayden Valley. As I mentioned before, I just haven't had luck seeing them, but they are there. Sometimes people see them, on the stretch of road. They'll hang out a little bit closer to the road down in here. But typically, if you're wanting to see wolves, if that's really on your to-do list, I would spend the majority of your time up here in the Lamar Valley. When you're going to Yellowstone specifically to see wildlife, you've got to take it really seriously. We all take it really seriously here. You do need a spotting scope or at the very least binoculars, but you will find the spotting scope to be really ideal for this type of wildlife watching. So even if you don't have your own, you can rent them in West Yellowstone or Gardner. I would definitely rent one if you don't have one and take it to the Lamar Valley with you. Because especially if you're hoping to see wolves, they can be pretty tricky to see. A lot of times they're not very close to the road. And so you'll have people with their spotting scopes out, and then you can see them really well. But if you don't have one, you're going to have a hard time seeing those wolves in most cases. And if you're really, really serious about seeing the wolves, it's much easier to see them during the winter months. And so since that road stays open year round, head up there during the winter. They're much easier to see against the snow, and they are active, very active during the winter months. So you have a good chance of seeing them then. Let's talk about bears. Yellowstone has both grizzly and black bears, so you may see one or both of those species of bear while you're in the park. Looking at the map, the best places that I have had luck seeing bears in the park are, again, typically like this northern area of the park. They really like the northern range of Yellowstone, and so you will see them. I've seen them down in here, over in here, kind of by Undine Falls and this area here. And then also the Lamar Valley. Again, you just really can't beat the Lamar Valley. I keep saying it, but it's true. A couple of years ago when we were there, we had a wolf in the spotting scope and we were looking at the wolf, and a bear showed up in that same area, in that same view. And so it was crazy. We could see a grizzly bear and a wolf through the spotting scope at the same time. So that does happen. There's just so much wildlife up there. Another place that is really great for seeing bears is this area over here. So between the east entrance and Fishing Bridge, there are a lot of bears out here. In fact, the Fishing Bridge campground out here requires you to have hard-sided equipment. So you can't tent camp out here, you can't have a tent trailer or anything like that. You have to be fully enclosed to camp over here because of the number of bears that love this area of the park. So this is a great place to come and explore if you are hoping to see a bear while you're here in Yellowstone. One of my favorite trails in that area is the Storm Point Trail. It's just a couple miles, pretty easy, absolutely gorgeous, and you might see a bear while you're hiking. As far as bear safety goes, when I'm in Yellowstone, I always hike with bear spray, and you'll want to read up on how to effectively use bear spray so that you know what to do if you do encounter a bear. I like to hike with bear spray, but the best thing that you can do is make noise. Talk to each other. Make sure you're traveling in a group so that you can talk to each other naturally. Just make noise. Let the bears know you're in the area, and typically they will just completely leave you alone. Let's talk about elk. There are a lot of elk in Yellowstone, and you might not think that's super exciting, but it is super exciting. My favorite place to go in Yellowstone to see elk is the Mammoth Hot Springs area. And you go up there during the fall especially, and that's when the elk are rutting. And so you can hear all the bugling elk. The males just have those massive antlers, and there are just females everywhere. So it's really fun. That's the perfect area to go to see elk, especially in the fall months. But again, you'll want to make sure that you're giving them space, staying 25 yards away, because they are more aggressive during the fall and during the rut. So keep that in mind. But if you do happen to be in Yellowstone during the fall, don't skip Mammoth Hot Springs. You will have a great show to watch with these big, beautiful bugling elk. During the rest of the year, you'll really see elk everywhere. You will see them in the Lamar Valley. You'll see them in the Hayden Valley. We typically see them as we're driving from Norris to Mammoth. You'll see them kind of as you get closer up here by Indian Creek. There are oftentimes elk between the west entrance and Madison. I have seen them even as we're hiking around like the Midway Geyser Basin area or out to Ferry Falls. We've seen elk out there. You know, it's a lot like the buffalo where you will see them spread all throughout the park. But if you can be in Yellowstone during the fall to see the elk rut and the bugle, that is my favorite experience with elk in Yellowstone. Bighorn sheep are another big mammal that you will find in Yellowstone, typically in the northern part of the park. So these sheep are really fun to see. They climb the cliffs. They like really rocky, cliffy areas. And so if you're wanting to see a bighorn sheep, you'll want to stick to some of the more mountainous areas of Yellowstone, which you'll typically find in the northern area of the park. Some good places to go to see bighorn sheep. We almost always see them up here in between the north entrance and Mammoth Hot Springs. So as you're driving this road up here, they love to hang out in these cliffs up here. So that's a really great place to go. And then again, driving along here and down into the Lamar Valley is another fantastic place to go to try to see bighorn sheep. You might even see them down in here as you're going around here. There is a picnic area called Sheep Eater Cliffs that's a very cliff and rocky area that sometimes has these bighorn sheep as well. And lastly, another big mammal that you may be hoping to see while you're in Yellowstone is the moose. And surprisingly, moose in Yellowstone are quite rare. It's really hard to find moose in Yellowstone. But if you're hoping to see them while you're here, you'll want to typically be looking for them in the southern part of the park. So looking at a map, if you're hoping to see moose in Yellowstone, you'll want to narrow your search to the south entrance area and the road down here. If you're really wanting to go off the main part of the road, coming over here to the Beckler area, there's typically more moose over there. But the reason that you're finding most of the moose down here is because there are so many moose in Grand Teton, which you have a little stretch of road here and then you hit Grand Teton National Park right there. And so that's typically why you'll find those moose in the southern part of Yellowstone. If you're really wanting to see moose on your vacation, spend some time at Grand Teton. There are moose everywhere in that park, and you have a much higher likelihood of seeing moose while you're in Grand Teton versus Yellowstone. So I did just want to mention that because a lot of people love seeing moose. I love seeing moose. They are one of my favorite animals to see when I'm out hiking. And so you will, if you really have your heart set on that, I would definitely spend a couple days in Grand Teton as well. Moose are actually more dangerous than bears, and so you will want to make sure you're keeping your space from them. They're very fast, even though they look like kind of doofy animals. They're really fast and they're really strong, and they get angry easily. So definitely keep your space. Make sure that you're not crowding a moose if you see it, because they can be quite dangerous. The cool thing about Yellowstone is that really no matter when you go to the park, you have a great chance of seeing wildlife. But if you're hoping to really up your chances of seeing something cool, you'll want to be sure to be out and exploring during the early morning or late evening hours. Wildlife typically stay more active during those times as they're looking for food. They don't like to be out, most of the time don't like to be out during the middle of the day. And so if you can hit the morning or evening hours, you'll have a really good shot at seeing some really great things. If you visit Yellowstone in May, you'll have a really good chance of seeing some babies. So that's a really fun time to be there. I don't like to go too early in the spring because the roads stay closed until about mid-May. When mid-May comes around, that's when enough of the roads are open in the park that you can really see a majority of the park. So that's why I say, I wouldn't go in April probably. A lot of roads are still closed. But starting about mid-May and through Memorial Day weekend, it's a really great time to go if you're wanting to see those mamas and babies. If you're hoping to be there at another unique time, you can go in September and October. As I mentioned, that's when the elk are rutting, and so there's lots of bugling, there's lots of action that way, and that's a really fun time to be in the park as well. If you're wanting to see wolves, winter really is the best time to see those wolves, and so plan a winter trip. Base it out of Gardner, the north entrance, and head over to the Lamar Valley during the winter to see those wolves. But again, all those times of year and the times of day can make a difference, but you have a great shot at seeing some really cool wildlife in Yellowstone, regardless of when you're there. So put down your phones, be looking out the windows, have everyone in your family looking out the windows as you drive through Yellowstone, and see some really great wildlife while you're there.